Thank you very much, Chris. It is truly wonderful to see so many of you here. You know, any event like this has moments of uncertainty, and this one did. Looking around it, it's just wonderful to see the room so full. I am so honored to be a part of this project. I mean honored to be a part of this group of 16 U of A faculty members who are contributing to the Nepal project. Very happy to be part of the International Advisory Board of PAS, and by extension, part of PAS, as well as part of the U of A in a very productive bilateral interchange between the two institutions. I have learned so much from the other really outstanding people who are a part of this project. The project has grown very quickly recently, and it is remarkable. It happens to coincide with a period of time David Zachas has been here, but it may not have anything to do with his presence. We don't know. It's not a scientific experiment, really. But there were, in the beginning, just two of us, David Cook and me. And for a long time, it persisted like that. David and I had independent interests in the institution. David had given a curriculum workshop, and I had other interests. And one lunchtime in the cafeteria, we accidentally both discovered that we were participating in the building of this new medical school, and I encouraged David then to join the IAB and to become more centrally involved. So we were a team, but for a while there was just the two of us. And then suddenly, without any salesmanship at all, without sitting in front of anybody, looking them in the eye and giving them a big sales pitch, people began to join this project. And as I say, this was once we had David Zachas as head of global health, but now, just a couple of years later, there are 16 of us, 16 University of Alberta faculty members who are part of this project, which is truly remarkable and is a very rewarding and satisfying thing for us. Now, I can look back at the early point when I was just another member of the International Advisory Board, and then suddenly things changed. And I became in charge of fundraising and PR, and then a bunch of other things were identified as being part of that portfolio, including the website and the newsletter 4 times a year, and making Wi-Fi fast enough to be practical for the students and the faculty, and a whole bunch of things, such that every day, every hour, you can imagine that we could be working on PAS components, and we'd never get bored, because once we get bored with one little piece, there's always another little piece for us to chew on. So it really is probably the most rewarding thing in my life right now, to have seen this grow so much locally, to see it thrive within Nepal, and to think of how much we can hope to accomplish in the future. Now, this is a fundraising dinner, and you say, well, how are you going to use my money? Well, there are many ways. There's so many ways. There's a long list. So, one way is scholarships. And that's a big ticket item, but there are many other things that are equally valuable. One is paying for the existing faculty to go to meetings. We've done quite a bit of that. improving the website, creating a local website for this project. We plan to both revamp the existing PAWS website and create a U of A PAWS website to reflect exactly what we're doing locally. Will the project grow beyond the 16 that we already have? Obviously, yes. This is a self-organizing system. We've done practically nothing to have it grow where it is today, so it will keep on growing. And you come back in a year, and who knows where we'll be. 20, 22, you can speculate how many U of A faculty members will be a part of this project then. So it has been a wonderful thing to be a part of. It's a wonderful thing to work on every day, and it has so many components that I think whatever the special interests of each one of you might be, you'd find there's something related to that special interest and PAWS that we're doing. Now, that brings me to Arjun Karki, because it's wonderful that he has joined us tonight. He is the person who convinced me to become interested in this in the first place. We met at the Calgary airport. It was a relatively short conversation. Vancouver, okay. See? So short I don't even remember where it was. So we met at the Vancouver airport, and before I met him, I was not at all sure that I was going to do anything about this, and after I met him, I was very sure that this was something I wanted to join. And he has been the spirit, the charismatic presence behind this project. I've talked about all the various things that we're doing, and you would think, well, that's a tremendous burden to be doing so many things. But the project has such charisma, such luster, that it is a joy to work on, and not at all a burden to have all these various tasks. And that charisma, guidance, spirit comes from Arjun Karki, who for 12 years now has been working toward this general idea of a medical school in Nepal devoted to rural health. Tried it in one place, that didn't completely work out, so then tried it in a second place, and it's working very well. So it is very nice, it sort of brings us full circle to have the founding vice chancellor of the medical school present here tonight at our fundraising dinner. And I think it's also useful for him, because he heard a lot about these fundraising events, but he probably didn't know exactly what they were like, and now he's in the midst of one. So it's like an experiment. So I would like Arjun to say a few words. Those of you who want to hear a lot more words from him, he is speaking at Medical Grand Rounds on Friday morning at 8, so you can hear a lengthy speech from him then, and a few words now. So would you like to come up?
Well, I have no choice. Well, good evening. Well, first of all, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my colleagues who organized this wonderful event tonight. It's a kind of a very overwhelming emotionally to see so many people come together to this event, which again has a specific purpose to do some fundraising. Just to say a few things. Number one is I know many of you who are present today have visited Nepal, are familiar with the kind of healthcare scenario. But those of you who do not have that opportunity as of now, there is a tremendous disparity between the people who live in rural areas, which constitutes about 80% of our population live in rural areas. Only 20% of the population live in urban areas. And there is such a tremendous shortage of healthcare facilities, both in terms of the access as well as the quality. And therefore, a large proportion of our population are deprived of the access to the healthcare services, and as a result, are dying a premature death and suffering unnecessarily from different diseases and different conditions which could either have been easily prevented or cured in time. So much so that the life expectancy between the national average is double to put it in other words, some of the rural areas have half the national life expectancy even today. So the number of children who die before they reach the age of 1 year is half the national average if you compare between urban areas and rural areas. So you could imagine the kind of a discrepancy that I'm talking about. So in addition, we also had gone through a very, very painful civil war in the country as a result of these discrepancies as well. So we, the doctors who were working in the Pathan hospital, said we have to do something about it, and that is what basically led to initiate the creation of this institution with the intent to train the doctors who would be motivated, who are willing to go and serve in the rural areas. What we are doing now is to recruit the students from those rural and underserved areas, train them well, and hope that they will go and serve to improve the situation. Most of these people who come from rural areas do not have the money, don't have the resources to pay for their education, and that is why up to now we have been giving 60% of the students who study in our medical school are provided with a scholarship on the condition that they have to go and serve 2 to 4 years in the rural areas upon completion of their training. So it is something that is very difficult, a challenge for us. We wanted to provide this scholarship to the 100% of the students, but it's a big, big struggle, and I'm so happy that the colleagues here at the University of Alberta are making this effort to meet that challenge. I must also like to seize this opportunity to speak about such a close friend, very, very well-respected friend in our institution, Professor David Cook. I didn't know him, and I would like to tell a story about him. As we were in the middle of this process of developing the medical school, none of us had any training as to how do we develop the curriculum. So I was going through the internet, I was Googling, where can we find the expertise to help us develop our curriculum, and it turns out that he was involved in giving a training on the curriculum development in Pakistan. I'm sure Marian would know when that happened. Then I thought, Pakistan, knowing the terrorism and the all kind of, Taliban, and it's a country where people do not like to visit that much because of the fear. I thought if he could come to Pakistan, he would surely be willing to come to Nepal. So let me try it out. So I googled and found his email and wrote him a note. This is what we plan to do, and we are stuck with the development of the curriculum. So I have seen that you are helping the people around the world, including our neighboring country, Pakistan. So is it conceivable for you to come and help us out? And about a week later, I hear from him, would you be able to pay for me in terms of my airfare? And at that stage, we didn't have that capacity. I said, no, we can't pay you for the airfare. But once you arrive in Kathmandu, we'll take care of your hotel and your food and accommodation and the local transportation. So he says, let me figure out how am I going to be in Kathmandu. And 6 months, I'm talking about, this was a year in 2006, and in 2007, August, he was in Kathmandu. And he was so much loved by our faculty. He did subsequently visit 2 times after that, and he was the most highly respected, well-loved person we have met in our journey thus far. So we have a tremendous respect, and we were all very much saddened by the sudden loss of such a dear and close friend of ours. And the fact that you are holding such an event in his memory, makes us, so emotionally overwhelming experience. So I would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to Professor David Cook and his loved ones, and all his friends and colleagues, and all of you who are present to celebrate this event tonight, and particularly those colleagues who are heavily involved in organizing this event and giving me this opportunity to speak few words on this occasion. So thank you very much.
Well, there needs to be something tangible, Arjun, to remember tonight, so you're sure that it happened. So you have to come back up here, and I'll give you this tangible thing, so you'll remember tonight. And yes, this green box is for you. Thank you so much for coming and your very excellent work.